Hello, I'm Pure Sarcasm, and welcome to the Ardent Alliance's reaction to Stephen King's It. First thing I have to mention is that it took me a little bit to actually get somebody to go see this movie with me. I guess the initial reaction of clowns bad, no, I don't want to do this, was pretty strong in a lot of people. So I was initially hoping to get a decent crowd from the group here to go with me, and only got one other guy to go with me. But all in all, I think it was worth the trip. It's a good movie. I'll say that straight up front. It is a good movie. There are a couple of really good jump scares out there. A couple of things that I didn't even see coming, and I'm a pretty jaded movie watcher nowadays. But a couple of really good, horror movie jump scares that I truly enjoyed. Most of the other scary parts you get kind of from the trailers. The trailers have kind of blown some of the big scary parts up, unfortunately, but that happens with a lot of movies nowadays. So my guess is to get a temperature of it, if you couldn't handle the trailer, you're not going to be able to handle the movie all in all. The biggest surprise for me probably was the cast. Casting was great. Some actors shined a little bit more than others. Some kind of felt a little out of place. But all in all, the kids did really, really good. The kid that plays Richie Tozier was fantastic. Great comedic timing, great punch on the lines. Very, very accurate for me. A couple of the big questions that I get about this is, was it the book? The quick answer is no. First of all, they brought it a little bit more modern. The movie takes place in the late 80s, if I remember correctly. The book takes place a lot earlier than that. So they had to modernize a lot of things. But I tell you what, as an 80s kid, I am an 80s kid, I really appreciated it. It made me feel a little bit more in place. So I enjoyed it a lot more as far as that goes. Very Stranger Things and that kind of tone. They put a couple of fun 80s songs in there too, which were a good punch. Now, there are noticeable differences other than that from the book, mostly because the book is 44 hours long. I say that because I listen to books through Audible, and the person who's reading this book, Steven Weber, I'm listening to it again right now, 44 hours. So the book is huge, and how do you condense that down even to a 2.5-hour movie is pretty impossible. The big way you do it is you concentrate just on the kids' story right now. So the movie is just about the kids. So if you've read the book, it's going to feel weird because the book kind of goes back and forth between them being adults and kids. This is just about the kids. So be ready for that. The other big question I get about this is it better than the miniseries from a few years back? I think so. I think it's a lot more serious. It's a lot darker tone. It's closer to the books than that. The Tim Curry versus Bill Skarsgård question pops up, and it says, who plays a better Pennywise? The Tim Curry one, as great as it was, is super campy. Is super, hey, look, he's a clown. He actually has funny scenes in that miniseries. The updated version, not so much. He is super creepy. He is super serious. And Bill Skarsgård can do this really crazy thing where he can control both of his eyes. Yeah, I actually read that in an article that's not CG most of the time. There's a couple times where it's a little extreme. But no, Bill does that with his eyes by himself. He is that talented where he can make his eyeballs work independently. And that adds a huge creep factor in it. So pay attention to that if you haven't seen the movie. It's pretty impressive. Some good things. The movie was creepy, straight out. It was also had a nice balance of very funny moments, and the book was like that. Richie Tozier is the comedy relief in the book, and he also does a great job in the movie. I'll tell you what, though, as much as the horror movie aspect part they were going for, while the Pennywise scenes in all of his forms were super creepy, the ones that hit me the most were the realer life scenes. If you've read the book or seen the miniseries, you know that Beverly has a very rough life. They do not shy away from it at all in this movie. It's actually pretty intense in this movie. And as hard as that is to watch sometimes, it really added a different tone to the movie that I thought was amazing. Some of the bad stuff, the CG in some scenes was kind of rough. It kind of takes you out of the scene sometimes, which is kind of disappointing. There's a haunted house in the movie that is a little too spot on the nose. It's a little too much. You know, they're walking through a neighborhood and then you see the evil house. It's a little too much for me. And not to mention the pacing of the movie, while most of the time it was good, does get a little rushed. Once again, it's a 44-hour book that they try to put in a 2.5-hour movie. And yes, the movie is 2.5 hours long. So if you're not a fan of the longer movies, you may not dig this. But I will have to say, all in all, it is a fun, entertaining, typical jump scare horror movie. I would go see it again. I probably will, because I want to dive in it a little bit more. I want to get a little bit more of the details. I want to pay attention more if there's any more little things that they put in it that pay tribute to the book or to the original miniseries. I think I picked up a couple of them. I'm not 100% sure, so when I do so, I will let you guys know. But I'm curious, what did you think? Have you seen the movie yet? Please comment below and let me know what you thought. I'm curious what you thought of the book versus this, and the miniseries versus this, and all what you think of this particular version of it. Don't forget to like, share this particular video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more great content like this. But for now, I've been Pure Sarcasm. Enjoy.